Welcome back to the Prettiest podcast. I'm your hostess, Kim.
And I'm your host, Sydney.
We are happy to have you here with us today. Today, we are going to be talking about positive self-acceptance. When you think about positive self-acceptance, Sydney, what comes to mind?
When I think about positive self-acceptance, it's really building a relationship with yourself.
Right.
I think it's very important to have your core values so that when you go into these rooms and meet different people and in different relationships, you know what your limitations are.
Right. So positive self-acceptance is really learning how to accept yourself. I feel like it's also learning how to love yourself, which is very important, and just really all things positive. One thing I think about, though, when I think about our young girls and young adult women, how do you think they learn positive self-worth and positive self-image? Is it more about what you see in other women that you see that you try to maybe emulate, or do you think it's something that you learn at home?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a lot in how you see people respect themselves and how you see other people operate. But then again, it definitely is something that needs to be taught at home. Just because there's so many different things that start at home with your family and what you see growing up that translates into how you are in your own life.
Right. And for those that may not have any positive women role models at home, then I think that is maybe when you look to other women in your family, or maybe even it could be
like a mentor.
I was going to say, or a teacher, or someone that you really look up to,
exactly,
that you respect. I also think, when I think about how to show ourselves positivity in terms of our self-worth, it always kind of goes back for me to affirmations, because you are in control over what you feed into yourself and into your spirit.
Powerful.
Exactly. So I am enough. I am responsible. I am beautiful. Those type of affirmations, in which we always everything always kind of leads back to affirmations.
Definitely.
Because affirmations are so powerful. And it's almost like manifesting as well.
I think also what's important is journaling. Miles, my brother, your son, he gave me an idea to write in my journal every day, my perfect day.
I love that.
He was like, because journaling, writing something down is like manifestation.
It absolutely
He said, so write out your perfect day. And he was like, whatever you write out, it's going to happen. So it's like you said, feeding yourself that positivity of what you want in your life, what you see in the foreseeable future, like how you're going to get there, this is what you need to do, and things like that. Just journaling can be a big role in that as well.
Right. And that's one thing that I learned from my mom is writing down what you want, because there is such power in writing down.
Exactly.
So why not journal and write about yourself, all positive things, and go ahead and just put that out into the atmosphere.
Yep.
I love that. How else can we ensure positive, self-worth?
Other ways we can ensure positive self-worth.
I kind of think, setting boundaries.
Definitely setting boundaries.
I think setting boundaries is really important. Learning how to say no and knowing that no is okay. Like no is a full sentence.
Exactly.
And it's okay to say no. I think it's healthy. Sometimes you have to say no.
Exactly.
But you have to have boundaries for yourself in terms of what you will accept and what you will not accept.
Exactly.
I think that's a good one.
Definitely.
How do you set boundaries for yourself?
So I use my journal for everything.
Okay. Okay.
So when it comes to setting boundaries for myself, I write them all down and I make sure I stick to them and I look over them. And I will write them out on my mirror.
Okay, yeah.
And it'll be like, this is what we're focusing on right now.
Right.
This is what we don't bend on, we won't break, and different things like that.
And I'm sure sometimes there are people that try to get you off course.
Definitely.
But you really have to love and respect yourself enough to know what you stand for.
Exactly.
Self-acceptance is very hard, especially like when you're in middle school and high school because of peer pressure.
Definitely.
And you're trying to just fit in. And sometimes it really may cause you to not have a lot of friends because you know what? You know your worth, you know your value,
Definitely.
and you know what you are going to accept for yourself in terms of those things, which kind of goes back to boundaries as well. Let's see. When I also think about how important it is to have supportive relationships too.
Definitely.
Share some of your supportive relationships.
So one of the things that is so important to me is my circle. So it's like who you keep around you. Make sure, you keep people around you that can elevate you and bring you into different rooms and speak your name into different rooms.
Right.
Because I think that that's so important. But when it comes to who supports me, my family, my friends, but it's like they support me because I support them so much. So it's like once you pour into somebody so much and they see it, they're gonna do the same back to you.
Right.
So it's like that cycle of give and pull, give and take, give and take.
Now, what if you realize though that friend that you're pouring into is not pouring into you the same? So it's like off balance. How do you handle that?
Then there's a conversation that needs to be had. Definitely to talk about, well, why is that the case? And definitely bring it to them like, hey, I feel like this. I don't know if you've noticed it, but it is bothering me, and I just want to get your opinion on it.
Right.
Why is this happening?
Right.
Why is this not happening?
Right. I think that's good. And I think it's important to be able to have those conversations, And another thing is maybe it's not, if they don't understand where you're coming from and they're not able to give you that, then it's almost like you might need to put them in another box.
Exactly.
Because some relationships, I think of them as just different boxes. You have like your best friends.
Yes.
But then you may have associates. And that's another thing. Everybody is not a friend.
It's knowing what level people are on in your life.
Right. And that's okay. But you just have to know where to place people that are in your life, that are not maybe pouring into you the way that you are pouring into time and energy and friendship and just all of the positivity into them.
Exactly.
I think that is, important as well. It kind of goes both ways.
Definitely.
So one thing I think that is also important when it comes to positive self-image is we've talked about how you carry yourself, the friendships and relationships that you have. But what about the extracurricular activities that you're involved in? Like, how do you think that plays a part in your positive self-image?
I definitely think that plays the part of confidence because you have to have a certain level of confidence to step out on a court, on a field, whatever the case may be, in front of other people.
Right.
So that is definitely a self-reflection,
right.
Am I good enough to be on this team? Am I good enough to go out there and make this play? Am I good enough? It's always a question in your head. Whereas if you have the confidence, there's no question.
Right.
So I'm going to go out here, I'm going to own this, and I'm going to execute.
And I'm going to do my best, And I think it's good to hear from you because you played volleyball, middle school, high school, college, and I know that you have experienced probably some teammates that maybe did not have that positive self-worth and self-image. So it's almost like, how do we encourage them to have the self-confidence that they need? Like, what are some tips?
I think it's less about how we encourage them and how they encourage themselves.
Yes.
Because you have to want it. Nobody can make you want anything.
Exactly.
You have to want it for yourself. You have to work hard. You have to work for it. And it's like this is a scenario where the grass is greener on the other side. When you work for something and you get it and you reach that goal and you achieve it, it's like a sigh of relief.
Right. I agree. And when you think about self-confidence, I also think about self-esteem. And that is something that's not necessarily taught at home. It can be, and it is sometimes. But I think a lot of times you kind of gain self-confidence just through your day-to-day living.
Exactly.
Going to school, having friends, building each other up as young girls, as young women, because self-confidence is so, so important.
Yeah.
And you don't want to fill yourself with negativity. So that goes back to the journaling.
Yes.
It goes back to positive affirmations
Yes.
being said to yourself. And you know what else I like? When I see young girls and young women affirming each other. You know, like, why can't we do that more often?
Definitely.
Sydney, you look pretty today. I like your shoes. I like your dress. You know, just in terms of getting into the habit once a day, even to start off, to tell another young girl or a woman how nice they look.
Exactly.
And encouraging, because it really makes you feel good.
It does.
Because I know sometimes, even for myself, I might say, "Oh, I don't know how these pants fit." Nah, you know, and I mean, just as I'm aging, it's just, I don't always have self-confidence, you know. But then at the end of the day, you think, well, you know what? If I don't feel good about myself,
Exactly.
why would anybody else compliment me?
Exactly.
So it's like you need to learn how to walk into a room, very confident, hold your head up,
Yes.
you know, positive energy,
Yes.
and just be yourself. So I think that would be just a few nuggets when I think about positive self-worth.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it is so, so important.
It definitely is.
Yeah, so
one of the keys to self-love.
definitely, and it goes back to self-love, right? Do you love yourself? Why or why not? And what are you doing to help improve you loving yourself?
Exactly.
Because you've got to feed into yourself and feed into others. Also, when I think about positive self-image, I think about the effect that social media has on us.
Definitely.
Young girls, young adults. And it's not always positive. So let's talk about that for a minute. What are your thoughts about when it comes to social media and how that affects what we
I feel like a lot of social media is really like comparison. So when it comes to positive self-image, it's not positive to compare yourself to other people.
Right.
Comparison is a thief of joy.
It is.
So,
say that again.
Comparison is a thief of joy.
Right.
So it's like when you're doom scrolling, which is just scrolling to no end, and you see this girl, oh, she has this that I don't have. Oh, she has that I don't have. Oh, I want this. Oh, I want that.
Right.
It's constant comparison.
Right.
So it's like if you're not going to go on there and, you know, be like, oh, I love that for her.
Right.
That's great for her.
Right.
Let that be her life and let your life be yours.
Right.
That has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So leave that there. Honestly, that's my take.
That's really good. That is really good. Because I think that a lot of our young girls get on social media and they say, oh, I don't have as many likes as my friend on this picture. Was something wrong? Did I not look nice? You know, social media is not the place to go, I don't think, for positive self-image.
No,
it's just not. And you have to learn through self-confidence that you are enough, through affirmations, through your own self-esteem and building your own self up.
Yes.
And I just don't understand, you know, why young girls do that to themselves if they can't handle it.
Exactly.
If they cannot handle it. So thank you for being here with us today as we talked about positive self-image.
Yes.
Hopefully we gave you some nuggets to use as you go through your day-to-day journey. And we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.